Hey everybody, welcome back to Travel Trailer Nation. You're in for a treat today because I'm going to give you the lowdown on Lake Whitney State Park, at least the horseshoe loop that we were in for camping, which has a lot of sites and for some reason was very empty when we were there. People did start coming in on Saturday, but for the most part, it was very empty. So I wanted to kind of go through the pros and cons and tell you a little bit about the park. First of all, when you check in, don't be surprised if you run into the friendliest people you've ever talked to as park rangers. They are great and very helpful. Second of all, your site, at least in the horseshoe loop, will be very easy to get into, especially if it's a pull through. And that makes me laugh a little bit because usually when you think of pull through, you think you're actually pulling through, but really what you're doing is pulling off the main road over. And that's pretty much how all the Texas state parks are. And it's just it's easy. They have plenty of sites for large trailers, so don't worry about that. And you can get all that information on the Texas State Park website too for each site. So the sites are big. If you're on the inner side of that loop, you're going to be looking at field. If you're on the outer side, you're probably going to be looking at some woods, and you may be looking at some other campsites. It's hard to say depending on how you're angled there. So beyond just the pull-through sites, you also have some back-in sites. And on the pro side, if you are going to back in and you go to those back-in sites, chances are they're going to be paved, and they're double wide paved, which is great. Excuse me. A little congested coming back. And so they're double wide paved, and some are quite small, but some are big enough that it would be good for pretty good size rig to get in there. So the other thing I wanted to say is that the grounds are really well maintained, and not only are they well maintained, but I think it's the first state park I've been to here in Texas where it really looks like they try to take down trees that are going to be issues. So I really like that, and I like that they're kind of keeping an eye on things, and it was a really good experience. On the con side, and there aren't many, but I'll give them to you anyway. I would say that I would prefer to have like a blacktop pad to get onto. This is gravel and sand, and we all know what happens with gravel and sand. It kind of gets in your trailer. I've parked in much worse places than this, but it's very fine gravel and sand, and it extends quite a ways out from where you're going to come out the door. So make sure you take a couple mats with you. It's nothing you can't handle with a couple door mats. And I would say other than that, and that's not a really big deal, but other than that, the only other thing that I would mention is that if you're going and you're in the horseshoe loop, because there are other camping places up further, like I would say another mile or mile and a half up the road. But if you're going to take your dog for a walk on the trail, which is nearby the horseshoe camping trail, it's called Two Bridges Trail. It's 1.9 miles, and it's going to take you, once you leave the loop, it's going to be about a half mile up to that trail. You're going to do the 1.9 and come back. So it's a good haul. It's too far away, in my estimation, for me to walk, maybe 2 miles up to a trail or further. Look further on the map, and then do the loop, which I believe is 2 miles or maybe more, and then come back again. I think that's pushing it, especially in this heat. In the winter, it wouldn't be a big deal, provided the traffic's not bad. But that's the only downside, is I would say being that far removed from the other trail. There are only 2 trails. Looks like a great park for biking if you wanted to take your bicycle along. You could certainly do this loop that goes kind of all the way around the campground, and that would be a nice loop to do. Other than that, the only other downside that I could mention is that it is very dark at night in the loop. So if you're going out, like Eva's a 4 a.m., 4:30 a.m. dog, I'm a 4:30 a.m. guy. We go out, you got to take a flashlight because it's very dark. And the only other park where I've ever been to where it's been this dark was Dangerfield State Park. So all in all, yes, we will go back in a heartbeat. In fact, we're already set up for New Year's to go there so we can get Eva out of the neighborhood where the fireworks are going off. and plan on having a good time then. Won't have to worry so much about the air conditioning, and that is one other thing that I would caution you about. Some of the sites don't have much shade. Ours, unfortunately, did not have a lot of shade, so our AC was running pretty constantly, which you would expect anyway in this weather, because I think the first day we were there was like in the 80s. The next day started approaching 95, and then we were up around 99 for, the balance of the stay. So that's all I've got on Lake Whitney State Park, but I'm going to throw up some pictures behind me so you can see what it's like. And then those videos at the end here will take you through the loop so that you get an idea of what it looks like, what the camping's like. I can't recommend the place enough. I think you'd have a great time. If you have kids, you better take stuff for them, because there isn't a lot for kids to do there unless they're into fishing. Then they'll be in heaven. But take some outdoor games and their bicycles and stuff, so they've got stuff to do if you go there. And I think you'd have a great time. So here's the video.